Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us here for another edition of our 10 Weather Impact Show. I'm meteorologist Aaron White, and it's another warm one out there. Temperatures getting into the upper 80s already, and we're tracking a good amount of sunshine, but there's a chance we could see a couple spotty showers here this afternoon, and then some better chances of rain. Going to hold off until we get towards later tomorrow, but more so Friday into the start of the weekend, where we actually have some pretty good chances of showers and storms here across central Ohio. But right now, things are pretty quiet out there. We got some sunshine. Temperatures are getting into the upper 80s again. We're already around 88, 89 degrees, and the heat index value getting closer to 90 for several locations. So we are going to be seeing those warm temperatures continue here as we go through this afternoon. And yeah, really a lot of sunshine here today. Some areas will have to deal with maybe the chance for a spotty shower, keeping it around 10% here, as most of us are going to stay dry. But high temperatures with that sunshine near 90 here this afternoon. And then we're looking ahead to some rain chances here. That's coming up next here for Friday into Saturday, as we will likely see some showers and storms around. For now, though, again, it's pretty warm out there. We got mid to upper 80s already, 88 degrees in Columbus, 86 in Circleville, 84 for Chillicothe, 85 in Logan, 84 in New Lexington, and around 85 in Newark. And that's just the temperature. Factor in that humidity, it feels like it's into the upper 80s, already feeling like 90 in Circleville. So pretty warm one out there. Live look outside showing partly cloudy skies. 88 degrees again. Wind is pretty light though, so really not much reprieve from these warm temperatures, but there will be a little light breeze here and there. That's about it that we have here for today. And again, likely staying dry. Some areas will have to deal with just a couple of spotty showers. Temperatures will stay right around 90 here this afternoon by 3 p.m. dipping back down into the 80s, and will drop into the 70s for tonight. So it will be rather warm through the overnight hours, not really cooling down much at all. And then those rain chances will start to pick up here going into tomorrow. 30% chance for a few scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm later in the day, and then better chances here Friday into Saturday before those chances really drop off, and our humidity drops off as well. So it actually will feel a little bit more comfortable here early next week. But meanwhile, as we look at the radar picture, you can see a little bit of scattered showers, really spotty here this afternoon. That's why we have that 10% chance for today. So all in all, most of us aren't going to see any rain here this afternoon, but just a couple of showers in southern Ohio. Jackson, Piketon, MacArthur area, Athens could see a spotty shower. And that's about it here for today. And if you do see it, it's only going to stick around for a couple of minutes. So a few spotty showers again this afternoon, and then those will fade away as we go into tonight. Looking at some clouds rolling in, a few more scattered showers are possible in the morning hours, mainly in southern Ohio. And then we'll see a better chance as we get into the afternoon, keeping it at 30% here for tomorrow. Then as we head into Friday, there's a chance, I know it's not showing up here right now, but the chance we could see a couple showers in the morning, and then better chances as we head into the afternoon on Friday with more showers and storms in the forecast here for the start of the weekend on Saturday. And notice our temperatures going from around 90 here this afternoon, still close to the upper 80s for tomorrow, down to the lower to middle 80s for Friday and Saturday, and then we'll be in the mid 80s on Sunday. And Sunday's actually looking like a fairly nice day. Lower humidity, 85 for a high, and then our temperatures will start to rebound with still lower humidity in the forecast as we go into Monday and Tuesday, with highs back into the upper 80s, close to 90s. So while our temperatures will start to rebound, probably not going to be feeling as uncomfortable as it did when we had that heat wave, because we're not going to be seeing as much humidity, but still upper 80s to near 90 back in the forecast here for next week. And with the heat sticking around, at least for the next couple of days, the cooling centers are also staying open. Columbus Recreation and Parks is opening up cooling centers to help people stay safe. Centers are scattered across the city, open at least 5 days a week, and with various hours. For a link to the full list of the centers and their details, you can find the story on 10tv.com. And sticking with the heat, just last month, the U.S. Department of Energy ordered data centers on the East Coast to run on backup generators because of the current heat wave, putting a strain on the electrical grid. The Energy Secretary Chris Wright said He wants to make sure that there's enough power for the people to run their air conditioning. Data centers need more resources during extreme heat since the servers already run hot. With higher temperatures, more energy is needed to actually then cool them down. And remember, as temperatures continue to climb this summer, you can help a neighbor stay safe. Join 10 TV, 97.1 The Fan, and Life Care Alliance for our annual Beat the Heat fan drive. Drop off a new box fan at any Franklin County fire station or make a donation through Life Care Alliance. And every donation helps keep someone cool. Just text the word FAN, F-A-N, to 614-460-3345 to find out how to donate. We'll send that information right to your phone, and together we can help beat the heat. And turning now from the heat to recent storms in northern Ohio, the rain may have slowed, but the water left behind isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Flooded roads, submerged yards, and in the case of Jonathan Jellinger, washed out crops. This was supposed to be the first year that he sold watermelons, raspberries, and blueberries, but instead he's watching months of work now underwater.
This whole summer is practically shot. A lot of time has been invested into, this small business, and it's completely ruined. Yeah, it's just so much that has been learned, and it feels like it was just completely thrown away.
The hardest hit areas in eastern Lucas County saw more than a foot of rain. Now police, fire, and crews are working and checking on homes, surveying damage, and helping residents where they can. And sticking with severe weather, when storms swept through a city near Nashville, one store actually had to rely on the honor system after the power was knocked out. Kelly Wilder, the general manager of a Spring Street market, says when their equipment went down, they got to work.
We start manually keying in what they've got. We round it up. We do our math.
Wilder says they even let customers take their groceries home with the promise to coming back to pay later. But the problems didn't stop there. Hours after closing, they noticed a freezer had gone down. Then it was customers who stepped up to help.
They form an old-fashioned fire brigade line, sort of like you see on TV with Bugs Bunny. And they start slinging product. We get all the product out of the cooler that's down. People taking care of people is what small town's all about.
Wilder says all the customers she trusted came through. Every single one came back to pay. And as extreme weather becomes more common, designers overseas actually have developed new technology for emergencies. A survival pod for a range of different situations. The floating capsule can be used in water-related disasters for people in a race against time. Now the groundbreaking idea is coming to fruition.
When escaping is no longer an option,
a higher area is not possible, immediately go to the LifePod survival capsules.
this could be an option to save you and your family. A French startup is making these LifePod survival capsules it says will keep people above water until rescuers arrive. The idea came to founder Cedric Chauffat when they saw victims of some of the world's deadliest tsunamis.
When you look what happened in the tsunamis of 2004, 2011 in Japan, when you saw the persons that were trapped in their car in the water and they finally unfortunately died, I imagined the solution to create some floating pods to be able to survive in that kind of events.
The company says up to 4 adults and 4 children can fit inside, though it might be a tight squeeze. Underseat storage offers space for essential supplies, and a GPS tracker can allow rescuers to locate the capsule in floodwaters. Makers say the pod has layers of marine-grade alloys and that its shape and buoyancy keep it above water. The capsule is also made to deploy quickly.
We design all our life pods to be easy to transport because they need to be installed sometimes very quick in an area that becomes critical.
The company is also making a model designed to withstand earthquakes and building collapses.
And moving now to some environment news. New this afternoon, Ohio is ranking #1 in a category it likely wants to be no part of. According to Orkin's newly released 2026 Bed Bug Cities list, the Buckeye State is the most represented in the nation. 6 metros landed in the top 50. Cleveland leads Ohio at number 4, followed by Columbus at number 8, and Cincinnati is at 15. The list is based on treatment data from cities where Orkin performed the most bedbug treatments. Experts remind travelers to always inspect hotel rooms and luggage to avoid bringing the pests home. And also happening now, Ohio lawmakers are considering several bills related to renewable energy. Governor Mike DeWine signed House Bill 15 into law in May. It's meant to produce more reliable, affordable power for the state by adding incentives to new electricity projects and adds accountability for consumers. Senate Bill 294 is still up for discussion. It calls for affordable, reliable, and clean energy sources. However, some argue the cuts cut solar and wind projects out of the conversation, 2 renewable energy sources that, as of now, would actually qualify as reliable if used with batteries. And next up, forecasters are predicting this afternoon that the coming El Nino is to be among the strongest events ever recorded, and likely even a super El Nino. Only a handful of weather cycles that have reached that level of intensity in the last few decades. And now, some computer models are predicting this El Nino could be stronger than any other event, dating back to at least 1950. The climate cycle has been developing for months in the Pacific Ocean near the equator. It's expected to peak in the late fall and early winter. Strong El Ninos have been linked to heat waves, flooding, and drought. And finally, a Columbus company on the leading edge of destroying toxic, cancer-causing forever chemicals had the full attention of the Trump administration on Tuesday. U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lee Zeldin toured Revive Environmental. Zeldin came here to see firsthand how the company is taking on the challenge of safely getting rid of this major environmental contaminant.
PFAS is the most challenging environmental contaminant we've ever faced. It's persistent, it accumulates in human tissue, and it's toxic at levels we've just never seen before.
Revive Environmental CEO Rick Gillespie says the company has developed a way to destroy forever chemicals using what it calls its PFAS annihilator. For example, the company has treated more than 13,000 gallons of toxic firefighting foam from 120 Ohio fire departments and turned it into a safe water-like substance called effluent.
Test it, you find out you're there.
Tuesday afternoon, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin toured the facility along with Ohio Senator John Husted. Zeldin says the agency wants to know about all the technology available to tackle a nationwide challenge.
With this new innovation that is out there, it's something that can significantly, drastically reduce that cost, which is so important for us.
Senator Husted says he wanted Zeldin to see what's happening here,
so that the federal government understands that this has gone from experimental pilot program to commercially viable at scale.
And Revive has been operating commercially only since 2023. Gillespie says Zeldin's visit is important for the company.
Having validation from the federal government just proves out that they're looking for PFAS destruction and that we're part of that.
And as we just celebrated our nation's 250th anniversary, but a growing threat is putting some of America's most historic places at risk. Rising seas and coastal erosion are reshaping the landscape where our history unfolded. Ben Tracy with Climate Central takes us to Jamestown, Virginia, where archaeologists are racing to uncover America's past before it's washed away.
When we know that it's shallow.
If you spend your days digging through the past,
I think it might be a gate.
Sean Romo says this is the place to do it.
You can't put a shovel in the ground without finding something.
Romo is director of archaeology for Jamestown Rediscovery, at the site of America's first permanent English settlement, founded in 1607.
For American history, it's harder to have more of an impact than Jamestown. And without Jamestown, there is no modern United States.
This is where America's first representative assembly met, where Pocahontas married John Rolfe, and where the first enslaved Africans were forced onto these shores.
So in one place here at Jamestown, we have our ideals of American democracy and our biggest mistake in slavery.
The ruins of the original fort were discovered in 1994. Archaeologists have unearthed 5 million artifacts that tell the stories of the people who lived here.
This is from how long ago?
This is from the beginning of the 17th century.
Now they're using ground-penetrating radar to map out what still lies buried.
Now, if it shows up, that would be really cool.
Because this has become triage, a race to save as much history as possible before it's lost.
You, however, don't have time on your side here.
No, we do need to pick the pace up because we are under severe threat from climate change.
Jamestown is under siege from rising waters. Sea levels here have risen 1.6 feet over the past century and could rise another 3 feet or more by 2075. The James River is battering the shoreline on one side.
That swamp is really close.
Yeah, and it didn't used to be.
While an expanding swamp on the other regularly floods the excavation sites.
And so when you talk about history being washed away, it's a literal thing.
Oh yeah, that's not hyperbole. It's actually happening right here.
It's not just here. As our planet warms and sea levels rise, 2.5 million Americans and many historic sites could be at risk of severe coastal flooding by 2050.
And rising sea level are making that map change more quickly.
Geologist Rob Young and his team at Western Carolina University are assessing risks to all 107 coastal national park sites, including the Statue of Liberty, Fort Sumter, and Pearl Harbor.
We have increased flooding of roads, parking lots. It impacts visitor access.
What are we most at risk of losing?
The greatest vulnerability in the national park system, without question, are the barrier island parks in the southeastern U.S.
The Atlantic continues to swallow homes along North Carolina's Outer Banks, which is why the historic Cape Hatteras Lighthouse was moved a quarter-mile inland back in 1999.
But it's one thing to move a lighthouse, another thing to move a Civil War fort.
Yeah, we're not going to move Fort Sumter. And at some point, we're going to have to make a choice, right? But how do you decide what to protect and what to walk away from?
Sean Romo hopes he never has to choose, so he keeps digging, while Jamestown reinforces its defenses to buy more time.
Do you see a time where Jamestown Island is basically underwater?
Sadly, yes. If we do nothing right now, we're going to go from Jamestown Island to Jamestown Islands in the next 50 years. So the time is now to act, to protect this space, and to make sure that future generations can still learn about and experience the place where American history was made.
For Climate Central, I'm Ben Tracy.
And before we go, we want to check out some video into us here at 10 TV. And first up, a man sprinted into action to fight a fire that quickly, so quickly he didn't have time to put clothing on. Wesley Howard saw his neighbor's house on fire and didn't think twice before grabbing a hose to help put out the flames. Howard spoke with CBS affiliate KIRO in Seattle and said he recalled his Navy training and jumped into immediate action, saying, quote, "I saw it was a raging fire as much as I could see, so I had two options, run back into the bedroom and get some shorts on, or run straight downstairs outside, grab a hose and start fighting the fire. So that's what he did. So that's what I did," end quote. Howard also told KIRO 7 that the fire was started by a smoldering firework in the garage. So wild stuff out there, but understandable in the situation. You just got to do what you got to do. And finally, caught on camera in Northwest Florida, a pair of snorkelers were rescued on the 4th of July in Destin. The Oskaloosa County Sheriff's Office Marine Unit posted video of the rescue on Facebook. Authorities say a strong current pulled the two snorkelers away from shore. Deputies found them in the water waving their hands and pulled them to safety. Both, thankfully, were unharmed. And that's going to do it for us here on the 10 Weather Impact Show. As we've been talk about the forecast, we got the heat coming our way, some more days near 90, but also those showers and storms coming in here for Friday and Saturday. And coming up later on this afternoon, Chief Meteorologist Chris Tomer is going to be in with the latest on the forecast, talk about those 90-degree days, but also the showers and storms here for Friday and Saturday. So until then, you can catch more news and weather online at 10tv.com.